ladies. I hope you're having a beautiful weekend. And well, actually, the weekend's almost over. So I hope that you had a beautiful weekend and you're having an amazing Sunday. Today, I wanted to do a video for you all about something I've gotten a lot of questions on, and something that I think that you can use as a tool to help you really promote healing your adrenals and your thyroid, and also your sex hormones as well. So I'm going to talk to you about adaptogens. Adaptogens are herbs that are specifically meant to increase your body's ability to cope with stress. It improves mental performance when you're under stress and fatigue-induced conditions, as well as it helps the different functions in the body. So adaptogens are really good. And then the ones I'm going to be focusing on specifically are the ones that support your HPA axis. So HPA is your hypothalamus, I cannot talk today, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. So the hypothalamus actually sends a message to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland actually controls the hormone release in your adrenals, your thyroid, as well as your sex hormones. So the HPA axis is really important. And so chronic stress actually constantly engages your HPA axis, which leads to the symptoms that you're experiencing, such as mood, sleep, libido, immune system issues, blood sugar, appetite, and your thyroid gland, of course. So it's very important to always talk to your doctor before taking any supplements. And I'm not just saying this because that's a disclaimer. I do think it's important to put that disclaimer. But some of these adaptogens aren't necessarily good for people who have autoimmune diseases, certain ones. And I'm going to talk about that a little more when I get to ashwagandha. I really recommend that that you talk to your doctor before you take any of these, because I would hate for it to make anybody's condition worse for any reason. So definitely do that. So the first adaptogen I want to talk to you about is licorice root. So licorice root, there's been studies that show it actually helps with cortisol regulation. It soothes your any GI issues, which I know a lot of you are having GI issues, along with fatigue and stuff like that. It has anti-inflammatory properties, which is really important for those GI issues, and also weight gain and other things that you may be having problems with. It boosts your immunity and it stimulates your adrenal gland. And so a lot of you are having issues with your immune system. When you have adrenal fatigue, you tend to have immunity problems as well, where you kind of catch every bug or cold that's going around. So licorice root is good to boost immunity. And actually, a lot of these adaptogens I'm going to talk about, they have overlapping properties. So you could take them all together, or a lot of supplements for adrenal and thyroid support contain all of these or some of these, but they do have a lot of overlapping benefits. The recommended amount is less than 75 milligrams per day. You don't want to overdo it. So if you keep it around 75 milligrams, you're going to be good. The second one that I want to talk about is turmeric, and I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. I talked about turmeric briefly. The active compound in turmeric is curcumin. A lot of people season their food with turmeric. You cook with it and stuff like that. It's really, really good for you. It has very powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, which is really, really helpful for those of us with adrenal issues. It is actually poorly absorbed on its own, so you can try consuming it with black pepper, and that can help with the absorption. A lot of supplements, they actually will contain black pepper. I actually have a supplement. I have a few supplements that I'm going to show you that I take, and one of the ones I take does have black pepper in it. But, you know, if you're using turmeric, you know, as seasoning in your food, then add some black pepper, and that can help with the absorption. Curcumin improves brain function and memory. It actually helps with depression because it boosts your brain-derived, and I gotta read this, sorry, brain-derived neurotropic factors that are actually reduced during depression, so it helps boost them. So it can really help you if you're suffering from depression. And it boosts the dopamine and serotonin in your brain, which is another reason why it helps with depression. And so it also helps the effects of chronic stress. The recommended dosage is 500 to 1,000 milligrams per day. If you are cooking with it, a teaspoon of turmeric contains approximately 200 milligrams of curcumin. So just something to keep in mind, you know, depending on how you choose to consume it. The third one is rhodiola rosea. And it's that one specific, so there are other rhodiola adaptogens, but the rhodiola rosea, R-O-S-E-A, is specifically what I'm talking about here. So that's the one that you want to take. It improves mental performance and fatigue. It actually decreases cortisol levels, so if they're really high, it can reduce them, so it kind of regulates the adrenal in that way. It increases your body's resistance for stress, which a lot of these ones do, and that's super important. It helps with fatigue, exhaustion, and anxiety, so it has a calming effect for you. It improves symptoms of your burnout, such as mood, concentration, insomnia. It also has antidepressant qualities, so it's really good for that. It's also shown to reduce blood sugar, which again is really important because I mentioned that when you have high cortisol, you have high blood sugar, you have high insulin, you have inflammation. So these adaptogens that help reduce your blood sugar or regulate your blood sugar is going to do nothing but benefit you. So it's really good for that. And then the recommended dosage for that is 400 to 600 milligrams. If you guys have any questions about this, please let me know. Put them in the chat box and I'll answer them if I can on the video. Also go back and answer them if it's after the fact. But definitely put down any questions you have. And if you guys pop on, say hi. I would love to see you. Okay, so the fourth adaptogen is ashwagandha. So ashwagandha is actually the only adaptogen known to enhance the thyroid and support the thyroid. So it actually increases production of T3 and T4, which is really good for the thyroid. But as I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, ashwagandha might not necessarily be the best if you have Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disorder with your thyroid antibodies. And then also if you have rheumatoid arthritis, it might not be good. So definitely if you have either one of those conditions or really any autoimmune disease, then you definitely want to check if ashwagandha is okay for you to take. But it's really a powerful adaptogen. It improves your resistance to stress, just like rhodiola does. It actually counteracts your symptoms of stress, and it can decrease your symptoms of depression and anxiety, and it enhances immunity. So really good. It's anti-inflammatory. It improves your energy levels and mitochondrial health. So this is really good for those of us that have really low energy and fatigue and all of that. It increases your stamina. It also prevents and treats stress-induced diseases, which is really, really good. And also it will help to reduce blood sugar. The recommended dosage is 450 milligrams to 2 grams per day. So I guess it just really depends. I would always start on the lower end of the dosage and see how it goes. The fifth adaptogen is maca root. So if you haven't heard about it, maca root is really good. It's rich in protein, fiber, calcium, magnesium, and amino acids. So it's really, really good. The fact that it's rich in magnesium is really helpful for the adrenals as well. I actually didn't include magnesium as part of my list here, but magnesium is really important because many of us are deficient in magnesium, and I've talked about magnesium in other videos. But if you're deficient, it can induce anxiety and cause dysregulation of your adrenals. You can have, so taking magnesium can calm your stress levels. It can promote sleep, and it can actually rehabilitate your hormone levels, including regulating your cortisol. So magnesium is really good, and if you take maca root, then you're going to get magnesium in it. And also a lot of adrenal and thyroid support supplements have magnesium in it for that reason. If you buy something that doesn't have it, maybe you choose not to do the maca root, then it would still be a good idea to possibly supplement. Other benefits of maca root are it will actually raise hormone production if they're low, and it will lower overproduction of hormones. So this is really good for people who have estrogen dominance, because it can actually, and usually people who have estrogen dominance have low progesterone, so it can work on balancing those two, lowering the estrogen and raising the progesterone, so it can really help improve libido. So if that's something that you're experiencing, a low libido, maca root can definitely help with that, so something to look into. It also enhances the hypothalamus and the pituitary function, which will help to also restore your adrenal balance. So it's really good for really all of your main hormones, your sex hormones and your adrenal hormones, even your sex hormones as well. And then the recommended dosage for that is 1,500 milligrams to 2,000 milligrams per day. The last adaptogen I want to talk to you about, and I know I'm not going to say this right, and that's eleuthero root. That's spelled E-L-E-U-T-H-E-R-O. So I apologize if I'm butchering it. If you guys know how to say it, just forgive me. But this adaptogen also helps your body cope with stress. So really good for that. It's a stimulant, so it increases nervous system functioning and boosts energy. So you're not going to want to take that, in the evening. It's better to have it, earlier in the day. It stabilizes your blood sugar, it enhances immunity, it improves your concentration. So a lot of these are really good for improving, mental functions like memory and concentration and things like that. So I know brain fog is a huge one for those of us with hormonal imbalances from our adrenals, our sex hormones, even our thyroid. So this can really help with that. It also can help with menopausal symptoms because it actually binds to the estrogen receptors. And so if you have estrogen dominance and you're taking this, it'll bind to those estrogen receptors and you won't make as much estrogen. And so the symptoms that you usually get in menopause, such as fatigue, insomnia, memory, and loss of strength, those are all decreased if you take eleuthero root. So it's really good for that. So if you're a little older, maybe in your early 50s, later 50s, then this would be a really good adaptogen for you to take along with maca root. That would be really good. So those are the main adaptogens that I wanted to talk to you about, but I think it's also helpful to include B vitamins. So, make sure you're taking your B vitamins, vitamin C, tyrosine, and ginseng. Ginseng is really good for the adrenals, and also kelp for the iodine that you need for your thyroid. So, if you're using iodized salts, which I actually don't recommend because you don't get the minerals that you can get from a really good quality sea salt or a pink Himalayan salt. But the problem is when you take a sea salt or a pink Himalayan salt, you're not getting as much iodine, if any, that you would get from iodized salts. So taking kelp for that iodine, and I recommend doing it that way, getting it from a source that's natural like kelp rather than just buying an iodine supplement. It's really good for your thyroid, and most of the adrenal and thyroid supports out there are going to have iodine in them. I specifically look for the ones that have kelp because I want that iodine, because I do not use iodized salt. I use pink Himalayan salt. So you've got to replace it somehow. It's really important. Your body needs it, and it cannot make its own. So I have some supplements that I want to show you that I take. Now, I don't recommend any supplements because I really, I just want to show you what I take. And you can choose to look into it and take it as well. Like I said, talk to your doctor, or you might find something that you like better. So it just depends. Let's see. Does thyroid issues affect sleep? It can. You can have sleep issues if you have thyroid problems. So if you haven't had your thyroid checked, I would definitely get it checked. If you already know you have thyroid issues and you have problems sleeping, it definitely could be your thyroid that's affecting that. Also, a lot of these hormones are all kind of intertwined, again, because of the HPA axis. If you missed that part, Becky, then you might want to go back and watch the beginning, because I explained what HPA axis is, and that's your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis. And so they're all kind of intermingled. So if you have thyroid issues, you could potentially have issues with your adrenal glands as well as your sex hormones. And a lot of the symptoms for all three of those interlap and interweave. And so it's definitely recommended to get tested for all of those just to see. So the supplements that I have are, I do a, this is WellPath Soothe. I don't know if you guys can see that because it's kind of like there's kind of a glare on it. But I get this on Amazon. And I really like it because it does have vitamin B12. It has the iodine, but it's kelp that provides that iodine. It has magnesium and selenium and some other things. But specifically, it has the ashwagandha. It has eleuthera root, rhodiola rosé. It does have the cayenne pepper. And it also has some other things, some other adaptogens that are good for the adrenal glands that I didn't cover in this. So I really like this one. The milligram amounts on this, they don't actually meet the recommended dosages, so I think it just depends. You can try with the smaller amounts and see how you feel, and then if you feel like you need more, you can either take more or choose to do a supplement that has higher milligram amounts for these adaptogens. The other thing that I do is this Mighty Maca Plus. It's by Dr. Anna Cabeca, and you can just Google Mighty Maca Plus. I've tried other maca supplements, and they don't taste the best to me. Usually, I mean, I can put it in a smoothie and it's good, but the reason why I like this one in particular is because there's a lot of other amazing things in it. But specifically for our purposes, it's got the licorice root, it's got the kelp, so it's also got iodine, it's got your maca root, and it also has turmeric extract. But there's a lot of other really good things in here. I recommend you check it out. There is a small amount of, never mind. I thought I saw caffeine on here for a second, but there's no caffeine. It was something else. So there's no caffeine, and I purposely select things with no caffeine, so I got a little scared when I saw that. But this is really good. It actually tastes good. So I just mix it in water, but I've also put it in smoothies. So if you like to do like a breakfast smoothie, you know, with some protein and fats and stuff like that, you can do a scoop of this, and it tastes really good. But like I said, I put it in water, and it tastes good to me. So I really recommend this to you guys. And like I said, this does help with libido as well, energy, all of that stuff. So it's a pretty good supplement, and it lasts a while too. For this, it says to add a scoop to 4 ounces of water or whatever, and then it says 1 to 3 times a day. And I think it says that because some of these amounts are a little lower, so if you have it twice a day, you might get closer to the recommended dosage that I gave you earlier. And then the last thing, and this isn't adaptogens or anything, but I also take this grass-fed organ complex by Paleo Valley. And I actually like taking this because it sounds really gross. It's freeze-dried liver, heart, and kidney, but it's a really good source of your B vitamins and your vitamin A and a bunch of other things, and it's a natural way to get it versus taking just a regular multivitamin where your body doesn't necessarily absorb the vitamins taken that way in the same way it does from you know, your food. So taking something like this that you could normally eat, but tastes gross in my opinion, you know, it's the freeze-dried powder is taken directly from the source, so your body will absorb it better. So those are the supplements I take, and like I said, I don't recommend supplements specifically which ones, but those are what I take, and if you want to check them out, then that's great. I think that would be great. Dr. Berg, if any of you are familiar with Dr. Berg, he has a bunch of really great supplements as well. So you can always check out his website. He's got adrenal support, thyroid support, all, GI stuff, all kinds of things. So definitely take a look, but Amazon is a great source to kind of do some research. They have a lot of different brands, you know, just make sure that you really pay attention to the descriptions and the ingredients and the dosages and all of that, so you don't overdo it or underdo it. You know, you want to take something that's going to benefit you. So that is really all I have. If you guys have any questions, and I don't see any right now, let me know. If you are watching this on the replay, please feel free to put any comments or any questions in the box below. And then if you guys are interested in, you know, taking supplements and, you know, really taking a step towards balancing your hormones and healing that HPA axis, that's what I love helping women with. So I'm going to include a link in the comments below to my calendar, so you can click on it and schedule a free mini coaching session with me. We can kind of go over like what you're struggling with, what is keeping you stuck, you know, and what you can do to move forward from that. So I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a great week. And I will talk to you all next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.